Welcome to episode 17 of Birds vs. Boys, everybody. We are coming off two brutal losses. We are recording on Tuesday night because the Dallas Cowboys were on Monday Night Football, but did not show up to Monday Night Football after getting drubbed by Arizona 38-10. But as always, KMess here with you, the boy, with Aidan Powers, the bird. And we are sponsored by Stateside Vodka.
Yeah, a lot of shakeups this week. One, the days that we're recording. But two, and the much bigger thing is because we're sponsored by Stateside Vodka now. So this is our first show being sponsored by them. Really excited about it.
Super excited.
Very, very excited. So I had heard of them before because they are local here in Philly, distilled in Kensington. So I had heard about them from word of mouth through the grapevine. So I started doing research on them. Look, like I'm a big proponent of aesthetic. Like, look at this bottle. If you're watching on YouTube, like, look at the bottle. Look at the aesthetic.
You can't break this bottle.
I was about to say, like, this is like, I'm so used to buying bottom shelf vodka that's $9.99 because that's all I could afford. Now I'm like looking at this. I feel like a king. Like,
now you're sponsored by King Vodka.
I was about to say, I feel like a king drinking this stuff. I'm not even worthy of a bottle that looks like this. Then you go on their website and you look at their setup there where they distill it in Philadelphia. The aesthetics there is great too. Look, true story. My family in Ireland distills vodka. Like, this is our family. Like, the Powers name in Ireland distills vodka. That's how we make money. We will be loaded, filthy rich if they can figure out how to do it like Stateside Vodka's doing it. I'll put that out there. My family needs to get in contact with Stateside Vodka and figure out what they're doing right. So we're obviously going to drink during the show, and I'm glad that we're drinking this now. So if you want to check it out, statesidevodka.com, get yourself a nice bottle like this. But if you're listening to it as well, like we said, we're going to be drinking, and it tastes good too.
It's delicious. And get yourself a beautiful shirt. Look at these shirts. I was at the distillery this week. Was not allowed inside because of COVID protocols, which show you how clean that distillery is. They are not allowing anyone inside except for the people that work there because they want this vodka to continue to be perfect, which is what it is. The bottle's perfect. The logo's perfect. And now we're going to find out how perfect the taste is. So,
all right. Do we want to start around the NFL and drink at the same time?
Bartenders, we could be branded tenders at the same time. First, let's let the people know what you're mixing it with. I think first I don't want to taste the vodka for the first time and tell and show the people what it is with something else hindering the taste. So I feel like you and I should just straight up taste Stateside Vodka.
I mean, that's fine with me. You don't really have to talk me into many drinks.
Especially when it's drink for a king.
I know. I feel great. I don't deserve this vodka. We both lost.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we should not be allowed to drink this unless they win.
I know, right? I feel bad that we're drinking it after a loss, but what are you going to do?
We're never going to be drinking it ever.
All right. Cheers to the King Vodka. They figured it out. They figured it out.
I don't even need anything else.
I was about to say, if you're watching on YouTube, neither of us even made a face.
Stateside cup here. Putting the old vodka girl in there. And I am mixing it because, I got a little Villa Italian blood orange soda. Delicious.
I have vodka cran as always. I'm like I said, I'm much of a peasant, but when I don't deserve this vodka, so I might as well drink a cheap chaser.
Mine as well. But we are very happy to be sponsored by Stateside Vodka. Welcome to the family, Stateside Vodka. Let us know by tweeting us at Birds vs. Boys Pod. Have you tried Stateside Vodka? Are you trying it now? Do you drink like a king? Because if you think you drink like a king or think you drink like a queen and you don't drink Stateside Vodka, you do not drink like a king or queen.
Here's the thing. I like the logo so much, and I'm on this aesthetic thing because it's my first time seeing it in the flesh. If we get 100 receipts sent to us that you bought vodka because of this podcast, I will get this logo tattooed on me.
100 receipts that you
100
bought stateside vodka. Aidan Powers will get the stateside logo tattooed on his ass.
I didn't say that. I said somewhere. I didn't say that. All right, let's get into around the NFL before I have an ass tattoo.
All right. You want to pull up the good old-fashioned timer? Usually we are very prepared podcast. I'd say we're probably one of the most prepared podcasts out there. But, I was out golfing today. Long day, rough day on a Tuesday. So I'm going to wing this around the NFL. So it's probably going to be the best one we've ever done.
That's true. I think when we freestyle, it's better. Let's get it.
3, 2, 1. Derrick Henry ran for a zillion yards. Titans win 42-36 in overtime.
Oh, look at the Falcons. They finally did something right. Falcons 40, Vikings 23.
Colts 31, Bengals something else. There's no score on my screen.
All right. Big brother kills little brother again. Steelers 38, Browns 7.
The Jaguars are moving to London because they are frauds. Lose the Lions 34-16.
The Bears pull, I'd say, a shocker. They are 5-1, surprisingly. 23-16 over the Panthers.
The New York Football Giants get their first win of the season over the football team 20-19.
The Broncos don't score a touchdown. They barely make it over the 100-yard mark for passing yards. They win 18-12.
The Dolphins beat the Jets 24-0, and now they will start Tua Tagovailoa.
Aaron Rodgers, it was off to a great start, 10-0, and then the Bucs housed them 38 straight. They win 38-10.
The Niners are back 24-16 over their division rival Rams.
Le'Veon Bell hasn't even stepped foot on the field for the Chiefs yet. They still run for 250 yards in the win, 26-17 over the Bills on a little Monday night action.
A little Monday night double header. I don't want to talk about the second Monday night game.
Oh, we will.
Unfortunately.
I think we should start with that game because I might have more to say about this game than I do about the Eagles, which is really saying something.
I will let you get into it first because I still need to compose myself. I feel like we're almost 24 hours out from that game. You're listening to this almost 36 hours out from that game probably. And I'm still not mad, not upset. I'm just confused.
Well, okay, then we hit all three because you're confused, but I'm mad and upset. I'm sick of this team. I hate this team, and I'm supposed to hate this team. But them losing should benefit me, but it's at the point where now it's not benefiting me.
Now it's hurting you?
So here's what happened. Here's why I'm so mad at them. I lost in fantasy football on that Kenyon Drake touchdown where the Cardinals weren't even trying to score. They were just trying to run the clock out. So it's at the point with the Cowboys now, like they're giving up points when the team isn't even trying to score. So this podcast has been really nice. Like our teams are losing. We sing Kumbaya. We enjoy each other's misery and company. And then it's all good at the end of the day for a debate show. Everything's cool. Kumbaya. We hold hands, say a prayer, and have a sing-along. That's done. It's
cautiously optimistic podcast.
The cautiously optimistic podcast is over. My vitriol for the Cowboys has returned in full force. The niceness has ended after that display because the defense is now so atrocious that it's costing me fantasy football games.
Yeah, that was it was embarrassing last night, to be quite candid with all of you. Watching that game, I was not surprised in the bit of what happened. I was surprised that they put up 38 points and Kyler Murray only had 9 completions. That kind of shocked me. But that just shows you how awful this defense really is. He had 2 long completions that just ended this team. You want me to start with the offense or do you want me to start with the defense? I know you went after the defense and you have vitriol for them, but this offense was just horrendous as well.
We can start either way. It's the whole team. I hate this team. I'll
They're
let you
not.
say your piece because I think I have a full rant just on the team. Just as like the 53 guys and the coaching staff that show up on Sundays should be ashamed of
Slow down,
themselves.
slow down. Using the word showing up is giving them too much praise because they don't show up.
Well, that's my point. What the fuck are they doing in practice? Do these guys just play duck, duck, goose during the week? Because there is no way that a team like of this, like a professional football team, can show up and just spot a team a double-digit lead every single week, be locked into 3 to 4 turnovers every single week. What are you doing during the week? This is an embarrassment.
Nothing. And that leads me right to Jane Slater's tweet today. So she tweeted out, hashtag Cowboys players initially wanted to keep things internal, but now they sit at 2-4 and the discontent is leaking out. On the coaching staff, they say they are totally unprepared. They don't teach. They don't have any sense of adjustment on the fly. Another said they just aren't good at their jobs.
What double-digit deficit in the first half gave it away? These guys, Mike McCarthy, he lived in a bunker like Christian Bale and Dark Knight Rises and came out and somehow knows less about football than when he was with the Packers. This is a disgrace. This team is pathetic. And it's one thing that to be untalented, it's one thing to be injury riddled, which a lot of people are. It's another thing to show up every single week and make every mistake possible and then show no heart. It's a disgrace.
So one question about Mike McCarthy before I get into this team. Do you think Mike McCarthy has this persona of coaching strictly because he had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers?
I definitely think so. I think it was a classic move where there was a flashy name. You're like, this guy has had success before. We talk about it all the time with Adam Gase. Why does Adam Gase keep getting jobs? Because one year he was around Peyton Manning. Can't we say the same about Mike McCarthy, like you just said? So he was with Brett Favre, he was Aaron Rodgers. They kind of carried him because they were good quarterbacks. Now he's got Andy Dalton, who's pretty good, but not a Hall of Famer. And here they are. They look lost.
So basically, he is Ty Lue or Frank Vogel.
Yes, absolutely.
It's exactly who he is.
Or Doc Rivers, but
hey, be nice. You're going to get yelled at.
No, well, the front offices of the Sixers and the Cowboys are very similar, where they're idiots. So,
yeah, I was listening to 105.3 The Fan in Dallas this morning, and they were saying that Jerry Jones needs a mirror in his house. He's probably got a lot of gold and chandeliers hanging, but he has no mirrors because he doesn't look himself in the face. And they need Stephen Jones now to be that mirror and kind of throw his father up against the wall and say, listen, Dad, we fucked up. Okay? Yeah. We fucked up. And we need to take responsibility for this now and fix the fuck up. The first thing that needs to be fixed is Mike Nolan needs to be gone. The defensive coordinator for this team. Listen, Mike McCarthy was the hire. Love it, hate it, do whatever you want with it. But then he's starting to hand out favors to friends. And as soon as those favors start to negatively impact your defense and your overall team, it's time to go. I read a stat that the Cowboys defense through 6 games have given up 24 touchdowns, 14 passing, 10 rushing. Do you know what the last team to give up 24 touchdowns in 6 games was?
If I thought hard enough, I could probably figure it out, but I'll let you tell me.
The 2005 49ers, run by Mike Nolan.
Mike Nolan?
Yep.
Wow.
Unbelievable. The dude is, I see both halves, right? I see a team at 2-4. I see players that aren't very good. I see players that are out of position. Yes, a lot of that is coaching. But now all of a sudden you're 2-4 and the leaks come out about the coaching. You know what? I watched a ton of players last night. Daryl Worley, him getting burned the way he got burned, thinking he was in cover 3, but he wasn't. Nobody was behind him and just letting the guy go. That's not coaching. That's you. You suck. Yeah. Look at that. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But that's
fourth most.
That's actually what bothered me the most was like the report that you just brought up from Jane Slater, where now the players are like, well, it's not us. Trust me, these coaches don't know what they're doing. Play fucking football.
It did the
There's
same
no
thing with Jason Garrett.
accountability. There's just no accountability anywhere in this locker room. It's a trickle-down effect from that idiot owner all the way down through Mike McCarthy, through the players. Look, like you said, not only does Jerry Jones need to look in the mirror, this whole team needs to look in the mirror.
Mhm.
Some of these mistakes, yeah, it's because clearly whatever they're doing during the week is not working as coaches. But part of it is this team just isn't focused. Like
Not at all.
Zeke Elliott fumbling every single week. What do you want Mike McCarthy to do about that? What do you want Jerry Jones to be about that? Someone in that locker room has to step up and be like, look, guys, we cannot go out and turn the ball over 4 times every single week, be down 14-0 in every single first quarter. Like, who is in that locker room and saying, look, guys, we suck right now? There's nobody. There's no accountability. They're willing to throw everybody under the bus. And that's just what an undisciplined, pathetic, heartless team does.
And this goes back to even Everson Griffin. When he was being criticized by Jeff Kavanaugh, who we had on here, he goes on a Twitter tirade at a media member who was critical of him, and rightfully so critical of him. He goes after him like a crybaby instead of just shutting the fuck up and going out and actually beating an offensive lineman for the first fucking time all season. But he can't do that. So he can go on Twitter. There's no accountability on this team. Nobody. Clown Lawrence, I don't even want to call these guys clowns anymore because I feel like that is it's so disrespectful to the clowns around the world. Like circus people are good people. Calling this Dallas Cowboys team clowns is disrespectful to clown people.
It is disrespectful to that clown in it.
Yes. Because that at least he kills people. Well, actually he kind of sucked too. The kids but
he did his job. He did his job. He haunted the shit out of that town. Every 27 years, he popped up and did something. He waited.
That sounds like what the Cowboys do.
Yeah. I was about to say it's been 27 years, so I guess next year it will pop up and he'll help out the Cowboys too.
There's a clown college. Maybe they need to go back and get their degree from the clown college university. You can imagine that on Monday Night Football. Clown college. That's what they should do. Every single player on the Cowboys when it's Sunday Night Football against the Eagles next weekend, it should just be like Xavier Woods, Clown University. Jalen Smith, Clown College. DeMarcus Lawrence, Clown U. Like that's what they should.
Clown High School, small town USA.
It's just on Everson Griffin. The C. You. The C.
The CU.
It's just it's so frustrating, this team. And like I said last night, I almost went I don't ever shut off a Cowboys game. And it was the closest I ever was to actually going to sleep. And the worst is when it's a primetime game and we live on the East Coast and the game's over at 12:30. And now I'm just tired and miserable and mad. And now I'm just going to be thinking in my head about the game all night. But last night, I didn't find myself doing that after this game because I'm starting to just accept this for this team. It's who they are. And I am ready to say right now, I don't see 3 more wins on the schedule for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe they beat the Giants one more time. I think they split with Washington. I think they split with the Eagles. And then after that, they're not beating Pittsburgh. They're not beating the Niners. I do not think they're beating Minnesota. Where are these wins coming from?
I slightly disagree. I think that it's going to.
Where? How?
I've been saying it since the beginning of the year.
How?
I think it'll come down to the end of it. But I'm not, like I said, it benefits me when they lose, but I'm so fed up because now I watch them all the time. Just like I write down notes for the show and like I was watching because of fantasy football purposes last night. And it's just not even fun. I love football with all my heart more than anything. Nothing gives me a better release from life than just sitting down and watching 3 hours of football. But they are so infuriating to watch. They are so undisciplined. They lack so much heart that even as a rival, watching my rival get shit pumped, it still angers me. That's how just undisciplined and just bad they are.
Yeah. It's disheartening. I think the Washington football team, I know we're going to preview next episode, is going to run away against this team, especially now that their left tackle Brandon Knight now had surgery, so he's going to be out.
Oh,
Who
Zach
knows if
Martin.
Zach Martin's going to play? He had a concussion.
Oh, I thought he hurt his leg.
No, concussion. So if Brandon Knight is out and if Zach Martin's out, yeah, I'm going to be finishing the entire bottle of Stateside because
You could.
especially if Chase Young plays, it's just game over. Andy Dalton won't make it through the rest of the season, and it's going to be the Ben DiNucci show.
Oh God.
And then you know what that means? Team tank. And I'm here for it.
That would be an interesting conversation. Like if that did turn, we're getting way too far ahead of ourselves. But the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, that would be a very interesting conversation. Do you pay Dak, or do you kind of reset the market where you're not giving your quarterback $37.5 million? Now you're giving him on a rookie scale contract. Would you do it? I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if they get to one because the Jets are still in this league, but
True.
I'll tell you who was making a lot of money last night and smiling, even though I know Dak Prescott is nothing but a team first guy. He has been at the facility every single day since his ankle surgery. And that means him getting a COVID test every day so he could just be with his teammates. Now, he could not be on the sideline for Monday Night Football because that's the league COVID rules. Nobody on IR is allowed on the sideline. But he's been there every day. But you can't tell me he wasn't sitting there with his brother last night watching that game with a big old smile on his face because, yeah, that team did exactly what they always do and go down 17-0, go down 21-0. But with 3 minutes left in the game, what does Dak always do? They're one possession away from winning that game. And last night it was 38-10.
Yep.
And they could not even move the ball. They couldn't do anything. So that just shows you right there that Dak Prescott can put a team on his back and Andy Dalton can't.
I totally agree. That's the difference between the two. And I guess I have two final points and then a minor one, but they kind of go together. And it's pretty much what you just said. Like Dak made his money, and we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. But he bails them out of so many bad situations. He's good enough to mask so many problems that they have. And Andy Dalton needs help. Yep. He's a perfectly adequate quarterback and is a great backup quarterback to have. Yep. But when you are down 14-0 because your Pro Bowl running back fumbles twice and you give the Cardinals the ball on the plus side of the 50, what do you really want him to do? There's really only 8 to 10 quarterbacks in the league who and that might be even generous, who can constantly bail you out of these 21 skunk situations. Dak might be one of them, but you would have thought that in a primetime game, you're playing for Dak, you need to help your quarterback. You would have thought you would have seen a little bit more focus. You would have thought they would have been a little bit more, what's the opposite of careless? It just, I guess that's the right word. They're just careless in everything that they do. They look lost in everything they do. They look careless because careless is the perfect combination of sloppy and untalented.
And you think especially after the defense came out and made 3 stops in a row to start the game. Now, it's the first time the defense has made 3 stops in a row all season long. Now, a lot of that was Kyler Murray missing his receivers. That was not the Dallas Cowboys stopping them. It was Kyler Murray stopping himself.
He was so amped up. You could tell, like the way he was throwing it, his little body was moving all around. He was so amped.
How about him? He's 7-0 in AT&T Stadium now.
I know. I did bet on the Cardinals, but I'm super glad that I did.
Can you imagine how cool that must be to win state championships in that building, go to Oklahoma, win the Big 12 championship in that stadium, and then go for your first time playing there in the NFL on Monday night and just drubbing the Cowboys?
Yeah, that you got to have the it factor to do that. That's why I'm high on Kyler.
That's exactly why I traded for him in my fantasy league after I lost Dak.
I do have him in fantasy, and he got me a solid 30, and all he had to do was hand it, and Kenyon Drake get like 2 yards. Linebackers on the Cowboys, like, stay in your gap for like once in your entire fucking life, make a tackle. Couldn't do it. Literally couldn't do it.
Now, I will say, and then we'll move on to the Eagles. So finally, we got to see Connor McGovern, the guard. We talked about him with Jeff Kavanaugh, he was drafted from Penn State a couple years ago. Never heard a thing about him. He was a second-round pick, had a high grade on him, but there's never been even talk about him. He went in there last night when Zach Martin went down, and I said, oh, baby Jesus, he looks tiny, and this is not going to be good. Now we have Connor Williams and Connor McGovern as our guards, the two probably smallest guards in the league. And he looked a little flustered at the beginning, but then he kind of held his own. He was not the reason this Cowboys offensive line was struggling last night. He wasn't getting pushed back. The tackles, there were just points where it was Olay. It feels like they were just had their eyes closed. They snapped the ball and they prayed and did nothing else. And Budda Baker was just flying past them, or that other white kid with the blonde hair flying past them. And I thought it was Pat Tillman for a second, and I was like, what is happening here? And he was just killing Andy Dalton. And it was the offensive line is tragic.
Yeah.
Tragic. My only hope now for the defense is that Randy Gregory is back now. They are saying he looks phenomenal, but I don't want to ever listen to anything that they say, because they said this whole team looked great. They said that they didn't need safeties. They said that we're fine at linebacker. And one other thing that I am very, very upset about, from Jerry Jones to Stephen Jones to Mike Nolan to Mike McCarthy, is what they are doing to this fucking poor rookie in Diggs. Every week, they're putting him on like one-on-one with DeAndre Hopkins and the best guys in the league. And they're just saying, here you go, kid, go get him. That's how you kill someone's confidence. Mm-hmm. Now, he doesn't seem like he's bothered by it. He's going out there. The first play of the game, he made a very nice play on DeAndre Hopkins. But I mean, how dare you do this to your second round pick? I get putting a kid out there and wanting him to play, and I want him to play, and I wanted him to play from week one, but to just think he's Jalen Ramsey out there from the first week of his career in the NFL. Yes, he's been going against NFL receivers his whole life. He grew up with Stephon Diggs. Like, he's been trying to cover those dudes his whole life, and he went to Alabama. But come on, guys. Give the kid a fucking break for a second.
That is speaking of trickle-down effects, like that is one of those trickle-down effects. Like, you ignored the position. You didn't hit on free agency. You haven't drafted well at that position. Byron Jones,
you let him go.
I was going to say Byron Jones left in free agency. Now here you are, and now you're stuck with him being thrust into those positions. And I talk about it all the time with Nate Gary. Like, you know what Nate Gary's going to give you.
Yep.
But it's the fact that he's being thrust out there because there's no other option. The same applies to Diggs. He'll be all right, but he's a rookie and he's trying to learn on the fly. And it certainly doesn't help him that you're giving him, he's like in geometry level, and you're giving him calculus homework. It's just not going to work, but that's the position that you're putting him in.
Yep. So I want to rant. I want to get mad, but this is where this Dallas team has me upset, sad, but numb at the same time, and just confused.
Well, I'm glad I was able to do it for you, because that was just fucking pathetic. And
yeah, no, that was the top 10 most pathetic game I've ever watched as a Cowboys fan, and I've watched through the Drew Henson and Quincy Carter years. And well, Quincy Carter got him to the playoffs, so I shouldn't do that to Quincy, but the Drew Henson years.
It was that
defense just can't do it.
And they didn't even hit the over.
I had the over
38.
Yep.
38. And they didn't hit the
55. It's just, I felt bad for CeeDee Lamb. And Mari Cooper makes one. These trio of number one wide receivers. I get that Andy didn't have time last night, but they got to make some more plays too. Especially Gallup has got to make that touchdown catch to end the first half.
We'll see. I don't want to keep dragging and ripping them, but it's like, okay, Gallup has the drop. You would have had a score going into the end zone and you get the ball. CeeDee Lamb has another block in the back. I think every time I've watched a game, he has had a block in the back. You would think that the wide receivers coach or an offensive coach or Mike McCarthy, the head coach with an offensive background, would say to this kid, hey, like you can't block this way. And then Amari Cooper, there's just certain points in games, never happens against the Eagles, but there's just certain points in games where he becomes a ghost. Like you gave this guy $100 million. That comes with expectations. Like it's not just, okay, you can go out there and do the Tobias Harris thing where you score 20 points and at the end of the game, you're like, wait, that guy had 20 points. Like that's how you feel watching Amari Cooper. You're like, wait, that guy had 6 receptions. Like he had 70 yards
because he does the same thing. It was that curl out to the side, and then he has one long slant across that he gets for 40 yards. And then at the end of the game, when the division and the season's on the line in the last play, he's tired and is on the sideline.
Yeah, it's just,
and then he gets $100 million.
And then he gets $100 million. It's an odd situation because I don't see any leadership from him. I don't know. Like the stats are there, but it just doesn't feel it. It feels it on paper, and then you watch the game and you're like, how? How is this guy putting up these stats?
And if I'm Mike McCarthy, I say to CeeDee Lamb, you've got 2 phones. You can watch all of your fucking tape on one or the other of you blocking in the back. Watch yourself on one and then watch how it's done on the other.
I won't continue with it, but you could point it was like the Eagles game week 1 when I gave everybody an F. You can go through and call everybody a clown.
No. I can't even call them clowns anymore. Again, I apologize to the clown community. I apologize to the clown community. I don't even know what they are now. They're losers.
Loser clowns.
Just loservilles from loser town. But I do want to see them come out on Sunday Night Football saying, Everson Griffin, see you. DeMarcus Lawrence, clown you.
CCU, Clown Community College, baby.
Exactly. That's it. That's all I want.
All
the
right.
Clowns.
Big clown energy, baby.
Yeah, let's go. Here we go. Maybe that should be. They should just put a big red circle in the middle of the star in the helmets for the rest of the season. Just a clown nose.
Yeah, clown nose instead of the star. All right.
Producer Vince.
I was about to say, before we get into the Eagles, you did mention that there is a primetime game between the Eagles and the Cowboys coming up. So I think Vince has some ideas for this.
Yeah, so I was thinking about Hate Week. And I feel like, well, first of all, losing to anyone in the NFC you should be punished.
Dreadful.
And as fans, we should be punished also. Okay. So let's start with Hate Week with my first idea here. So I think something should happen to whoever loses Hate Week. Judging by the last half hour of what you were saying, we can handicap it. I don't know how confident you're feeling.
None.
So we can handicap it.
I mean, that neither of us can feel confident, so it's a scratch.
That's what I'm saying. That's
whatever your ideas are, we'll go with them because neither of us.
All right. So, well, first, like, do either of you feel confident that your team can straight up win this game?
No.
Yes.
So, should we handicap it?
Just tell me what is the. Let's talk through it.
Yeah. Give us your idea.
All right. So first of all, have you guys seen the spicy chip?
Yes.
Yeah, the spiciest chip on earth or whatever.
Is that the one? So Shaq ate it and he was like, "It's not that hot," and then like immediately coughed and almost died.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one?
Yeah. So I think my first idea was loser eats the spicy chip.
Okay, I like that. I've had the ghost face killer wings before, like the hottest one. You have to sign the waiver. We did that for our fantasy football league draft. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys. I lost in fantasy this week because the Cowboys are a bunch of fucking scumbags. But I do like that idea.
Kenyon Drake.
All right, my second idea, I got a little more creative with it. Do you guys know Ed Hardy?
Yes.
Like the Ed Hardy T-shirts?
Yep.
Shirts?
So loser until the next Cowboys-Eagles game, when we have to decide whatever happens after that, has to, on every podcast, wear an Ed Hardy T-shirt with like a fedora and like a black vest.
Well, what about my beautiful stateside Vodka shirt? Most
you can wear that
comfortable shirt
underneath.
I've ever worn.
Just the rock and vest would probably cover it up. Or we can
I
get a
think
stateside fedora.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should do stateside fedoras. They have such a powerful S that you could just put the S on the fedora.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be there.
King
I think
shit.
the one problem with Ed Hardy, where would we even find an Ed Hardy shirt in the year 2020? That might be harder than wearing the shirt.
That's what I'm here for.
All right.
Producer Vince. Why don't we'll put it out on Twitter. We'll have the people
I
vote.
got more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let
All
him keep going. Yeah, I mean,
Continue.
we can fit 4 in a graph on a poll on Twitter. So if you
I've
have
got 2.
if you have more, let's
All right.
keep it rolling.
Option 3, winner waxes the loser.
No,
You want to get your legs waxed? Just
No,
legs.
Even if I won, I wouldn't want to wax Kevin.
No, yeah. I mean, I get my back waxed in the summer, but
I was gonna say if anyone on here got waxed, I was gonna say you probably already did.
Absolutely every summer. But yeah, I don't need Aidan doing it.
All right, so not that one then. And then option number 4 is me and whoever wins has to decide what the loser what book the loser reads for a book report, and you give us a book report on the podcast.
I like
The Bible.
that.
Yeah, something like Moby Dick, Pride and Prejudice. You have to do a book report on the podcast.
I like that.
We'll stick with that one.
Yeah, I'm going book report.
I like the book report.
You like book report?
I feel like I could choose some really like screwed up, messed up books that you would have to read. And I'm not going for length. Like I don't want you to make you read 700 pages. We all have lives, but I think I could come up
on a Tuesday, so maybe he doesn't.
I was about to say, yeah, some of us are able to golf on the middle of the week, but I think we could get creative with the book reports. That's another good one.
Has to be handwritten too.
Handwritten book report.
Okay. I mean, Aidan handwrites his notes anyway, so I shouldn't
They
be
do.
True.
If I wouldn't be able to read the book report after it was done, but it would be done. There's proof.
Also, I think we're going to do for NFC matchups outside of Eagles Cowboys. If you lose an NFC game outside of Eagles Cowboys, you have to wear a cone of shame for the next episode.
Now, in NFC East or just NFC?
NFC East. NFC
Okay.
East.
This is not retroactive, correct?
Not
Some of us
retroactive.
are already there.
That show already passed. So I'm gonna, since this is kind of pertinent, and we may have a NFC East loss coming up very soon. I'm thinking one way more than the other. I'm gonna get on Amazon Prime like tonight and order one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The Eagles play on Thursday, so there you go. And it is a division week, so I do like that idea. These teams suck, so yeah, I think we deserve the cone of shame.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the ideas for the rivalry hate week as well. I think we could get creative with those, and even the chip one that's pretty straightforward. I've seen the video.
We could save that for sometime later.
I don't know. No, I think we got to have 3 options here for the vote. I think it would be beneficial to have 3. So yeah, we'll do the chip, the book report, and possibly Ed Hardy if we can find an Ed Hardy shirt.
The vest and the fedora are more important. I feel like that's more critical to the look I'm going for.
I think the Ed Hardy shirt's probably the the money maker in that outfit. But yeah, I'm down with that. We can put the vote out on Twitter.
And you know what? You know what's not a punishment?
Stateside
vodka.
This is the most important vote I can think of coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Can't figure.
Is there another one?
Is there another vote?
Imagine, I couldn't imagine any vote being more important.
No. Get out and vote on our punishment.
On our punishment for Eagles. That's our promo. There we go. All right. Vince, vote. I think those were very good ideas.
I like them.
Make sure that we get the people registered to vote. We'll see if we can do mail-in voting. We'll see where we go. We got some time before Eagles Cowboys, so we'll put that out and we'll see where we go from here.
All right.
Thank you for those ideas. I think they were good.
Producer Vince, everybody.
You ready to get into my Eagles?
Yes. And then I have something to propose to you, and then we'll let the people enjoy the rest of their day.
Okay.
Or evening or morning.
Or morning or evening, or maybe you're listening at 3 a.m.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So you want my all-time spin zone?
Spin.
Me spin it up. Start the spin machine.
Do
it. I am glad that Sunday happened, because now it is very evident and very clear that Carson Wentz is not the problem on this team. Yep. He never was the problem on this team. He is actually the only thing keeping this team afloat. So, for the sake of being the guy who's like, I was right, I'm glad Sunday happened, because no more are we going to hear, well, it's maybe Jalen Hurts and all they could move on in 2022 from
Such a
Carson Wentz.
joke.
Oh, they should have kept Foles. No, there's not a single quarterback who could come into this position and thrive and be successful. But Carson is somehow keeping this team afloat and somehow has them in every game with really good opponents pretty much by himself.
He has the will that no Dallas Cowboy has on this team. Like you said, they just don't care. They're unprepared. Everything you want in a player, mentally and emotionally and physically, Carson Wentz has.
Yeah, I mean,
you can see where he's just like, nope, I'm taking over this game.
Yep, I could. It was the 40-yard run for me when he could have stepped out of bounds like 2 or 3 different times and didn't do it and turned it into a 40-yard run and was willing to, if he had to take a hit along the way, he would. And you saw everything in that game. He was able to throw the ball effectively in the second half. He ran the ball well. He was out and he was blocking downfield for Jalen Hurts and pitching a lead block. Like, he does everything. And after every sack, he pops up. And after every drop, he doesn't put his head down and yell at the receiver, because I tweeted this. If I were him, I'd be in an insane asylum.
Yes.
Like, to put that many, like, you do your job perfectly and some other idiot screws it up every single time, week in and week out, I would go insane. And instead, it's like it makes him more positive. Like, the more injuries, the more negative stuff, the more losses that happens, he churns it all in some, like, his superpower is just becoming the most positive person of all time. But that's what keeps them afloat. Is it these guys are young and they're stupid, so they don't really know, So they just follow him. He's like the mother goose. He's the mother goose, and the little tiny little gooses behind him who are too dumb, they just waddle behind him because they don't know any better.
Now, with Deshaun coming back and then Alshon, does that scare you that the gooses are going to not follow and they're,
it does
tainted?
Yeah, so it does. It's going to be hit or miss. He's clearly developed this chemistry with Travis Fulgham. It was on display again on Sunday. Greg Ward has earned his time as well. When Reagor comes back, I want to see Reagor. Like, it's year one. He needs to be out there. But for two guys who have really had questions about, like, are these guys all right in the locker room, for they to be coming back on a 1-4-1 team, but it's a 1-4-1 team that seems to be pretty positive. Like, this was like, they were the opposite of the Cowboys. Like, they lost and they're like, there's no heads down. Like, that we are steamrolling forward. We have an advantage on our schedule coming up. Like, there is no time to be mad about a loss. Like, we need to keep going. Whoever's out there is out there. Just get the job done. So, to answer your question, yes, it does worry me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, how about Travis Fulgham's friends from high school coming up from Virginia? They paid $500 each a ticket to be at that game, and they were in the link for him. And he tweeted it out too, like, these have been my day one guys, blah, blah, blah. I mean, seeing stories like that, I don't care what team they're on. You got to love that. And you got to root for a guy like him. I mean, I hope he has a chance to catch a game-winning touchdown pass against Dallas and he drops it. But until then, I mean, it's a guy you got to root for.
Yep. You know what? Judging by what happens to Carson Wentz, I'm sure that will happen. But yeah, that was awesome. My friend actually played at ODU and was in the same class as Fulgham. Said his senior year was just a walking highlight tape. So it seems to be, if you do this 3 straight weeks, it's not a flash in the pan, because teams are getting more and more tape on you and you're still producing.
And you did it against the Steelers and the Ravens.
And you're doing it against Steelers and the Ravens, and you're winning jump balls against Marcus Peters. Like, you're doing something right. Like, he's doing something right. And there is no way that Alshon Jeffrey should take his time away.
So, I mean, I would feel much more confident as an Eagles fan after the loss to the Steelers and the loss to the Ravens, the way they lost in the last 2 weeks, than any part of a Cowboys fan after a win against the Giants and the loss against the Cardinals. Those 2 losses showed me a lot about this Eagles team and the fight that they have behind Carson Wentz.
Exactly. See, that's what I want to see, because when you're young and you're injury riddled and plagued by injuries, and you're like, we don't know who's going to be out there on Sunday. We really don't. Like, that's all. That's really all you can ask for. And those are two really good teams. Now, I very much question if the Ravens are actually good. Like, I walked away from that game and I was like, wait, are the Ravens good?
Lindsay, okay.
They had over 100 penalty yards. They had 12 penalties for 132 yards. If you don't include sacks, they had more negative plays than the Eagles did. They were not good.
And if Hightower catches that ball, and if Miles Sanders catches that ball.
I know. How about it? I said on the preview show, I said, what you want to do, because you know what the Ravens want to do. You want to be up 7-0 before Lamar Jackson takes that football in his hands. So we come out, we get the ball first, we go sack, blown up screenplay, dropped 50-yard bomb. I was like, all right, here we are. Great start. It's just like, there's a lot of teams. Like, you start like that. Okay, the Falcons or the Ravens. Oh, I almost said
easy. Bleep that. Bleep that.
I was thinking of really bad teams, and I thought of the Falcons. The Ravens get the ball at the 50, they go score. A lot of teams would have put their head down. They were down 17-0 at half. A lot of teams would have put their head down. But Carson Wentz, he's like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. He just decided he's going to take on the entire world by himself. And he does it running, and sometimes it leads to those fumbles. Marlon Humphrey, I would like to see more players punch out the ball like him, but that's kind of what happens when Wentz gets a little bit out of control. But you kind of have to live with that when who else is going to do anything.
Yeah, no, you take some of those little bad with the great good that he brings you, like that 40-yard run where he can change a ball game, where you blink, you go to get a hot dog and take a pee, and all of a sudden the Eagles have a chance to tie this ball game when you're like, wait, the game was over.
It was over. Yeah. They take you off red zone for a second. All of a sudden you're like, wait, they're about to tie the game? Like, what
happened?
So, yeah, and it wasn't just a 40-yard run, but it was him running around extending plays. Mm-hmm. There was a big, it wasn't a completed throw, but they drew a pass interference on Fulgham. And then he gets out of the pocket and finds Jason Kroom. I have no clue who that person is, but he made the catch for a touchdown. And then the touchdown pass to Fulgham. Like, he's running for his life back there in front of Jamon Brown, who was atrocious. I'll get into him in a second, but
who then takes a picture with Lamar Jackson after the game.
Lamar Jackson. Let's get into Kroom, because I'll do the Wentz is the guy segment every single week.
Yep.
So let's just do Jamon Brown for a second. There's like a few more points I want to make on the Eagles, and he is one of them. That was the worst offensive lineman performance for the Eagles
ever.
Since Winston Schutz's game on Monday Night Football, when they gave up 9 sacks against OCU Minora and the Giants. That was so bad.
So bad.
It wasn't. The stats were bad. Like, he gave up 3 sacks, I think 2 rushes, 2 hurries, 1 knockdown. But it wasn't just that. It was the video of him sacking Wentz.
Yes.
He's fixing his gloves during the play. And I think that was on the touchdown pass where Wentz is running for his life. He takes a picture with Lamar Jackson. Like, this guy, where the hell did they find him?
Under a bridge somewhere. I think I rewatched the video of him sacking Wentz himself 47 times, and I'm like, it's unbelievable. He goes right into him and just grabs. It's like, wait, what? And then he's like, oh, wrong guy.
Yeah, and it's easy like wide receivers. It's easy to get lost because you ran the wrong route. A quarterback, you made the wrong read. It's got to be really hard as an offensive lineman to not know where you're supposed to be on the field. You have only one area to cover.
Or knowing the color that you have compared to the color they have on, and who your fucking quarterback is.
Yeah. Yeah, and they the Ravens blitzed a lot, but it seemed like everybody else was okay, and the stats back it up. Like, Nate Herbig played well.
Yep.
Mulata was the drastic opposite of Jamon Brown, who he was just mauling people.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the big guy in longest yard? The one who's in solitary confinement and he's like 8 foot tall and plays ping pong by himself.
Lamar Odom.
No.
No. Doesn't it start with a O?
It's like the great something. The great Kali. Great colleague.
Yes. Yeah.
He play Jordan Mailata plays tackle like the great collie,
Mhm.
and Jamon Brown plays guard like a panda bear. It was just so drastic.
He kind of looks. He also looked like that the monkey, that has the clapping hands with the symbols. When it's like, who are you?
That's what
What
he
do you
looked like when he was
Yes.
putting his gloves back on during the middle of the play.
Who are you and why are you here?
He's here because he's starting for Matt Pryor, who was starting for Brandon Brooks, and Brandon Brooks was out, and Jason Peters was going to play there, but now Jason Peters is out. It's just like this is what you get when you're on your fourth string. It's a guy who doesn't even know where he's supposed to be when you only have one space where you're supposed to be.
I'm right there with you when it comes to offensive line depth.
Yeah, the offensive line depth. I don't want to get into the preview of the game, but we should be a little bit worried about that because it's not good. But like I said, there are positives to take away from this game. It feels a lot like last week. Like the guys who you would like to stick around, like I said, Jordan Mailata, Jack Driscoll got hurt, but he played well. Nate Herbig is going to be your backup guard for eternity. Carson Wentz, Travis Fulgham, like guys you actually want to see play.
Yep.
Played well. That's the key. In a season like this, like the young people who need to be here for the next 5 years need to play well. And so those were the positives. And I have one glaring negative.
Give it to me.
The Eagles claim that they have more gimmicks for Jalen Hurts than a used car dealer. You need to tie the game or the game is over on the 2-point conversion. And that's the time that you don't use him. You have all these gimmicks. You tell me all this stuff about how it's worth it to take him with a second round pick. And then with the game on the line, you do read option with Carson, take the ball out of his hands, and Boston Scott. Are you kidding me?
Teeny tiny Boston Scott.
With 5'6" Boston Scott with a guy crashing off the edge, which they had done 26 times during the game. You saw them coming off the edge so much. What do you think they were going to do with the game on the line? And you didn't think, hey, this gadget guy that we have who has been working out well during the game, maybe we should throw him in there on a play where we need a gadget play. Are you kidding me?
Yep. I don't understand how he's not used in that position.
It's like, yeah.
It's kind of one of those, it takes your breath away. Like, what the like, that's what I was fully expecting. On the other end, obviously rooting for the Ravens, I was ready for that. And I was like, here we go. This is all the Jalen Hurts talk is going to bite me in the ass. But nope.
Me too.
Don't use them there.
I know. And it's just so odd that was the time. And you know what it reminded me of? Remember when I was doing the rant after the Bengals game? I was like, okay, worst case scenario is you punted. And you punted. Like you either click the field goal, you throw a bomb, or that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Punt is not an option. Here, the same logic applies to this situation. Either you let Carson throw because he's on fire, you bring in Jalen Hurts and run one of these gadget plays with both quarterbacks in the game. That's the list. That's the list. It's not do read option with Carson and Boston Scott into the crashing edge. And they had one timeout left. You couldn't stop. Like you didn't have enough to stop the clock to get the ball back.
This is
it. You didn't want to use it and think, hey, let's get our best play. We spent 45 minutes of practice just working on the 3 plays that Jalen Hurts is going to be in for. He can't throw the ball, but maybe he can throw it from 2 yards out. Like now we don't want to do it.
Blows my mind, but I'm happy they did it.
I agree. I disagree. I'm sorry. I got so flustered by how dumb.
Real quick. Kevin, what's your neck size?
Like a 32.
Your neck?
What is a neck size?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking my waist. It's 15 and a half.
15 and a half. Okay.
My neck is the size of my neck. It's a neck.
Or my neck.
Are we buying a noose?
No. It's a where's that? It's a dog cone.
Oh my God. I thought you meant a traffic cone.
No.
Well, I
got
had
your
a
dog
totally
coming.
different idea of what cone we were supposed to wear during this.
Leaving it. His ass is out of here. Next
All right.
size.
Well, you know what? We're wrapping up anyway. I have one more point, and I'm going to sneak it in here because I don't think anyone else is talking about it. And then we'll. I know you wanted to throw me one more thing. I am at threat level midnight red with Jake Elliot.
Is it time to have the conversation?
It is time to be concerned because he missed a 52-yard field goal at the end of the half. He missed from 52 multiple times. He's supposed to be this guy that can hit from long range. He hasn't done it. I believe it's the third time that he has missed. He missed against the Steelers from 57. He missed from 52 against the Ravens. He missed from 52 against the Ravens. So do you have this kicker who can hit from 50 plus, or don't you? Because he hasn't done it yet, and I'm starting to get concerned. If he hits that, we're not in the position where we need to go for 2, but he didn't. So I think you need to be a little bit concerned. What's going on? This guy has been so consistent from 50 yards, and now he's 0 for 3. That's not good. And I don't hear anyone talking about it, but those 3 points, you know what? If you had 3 more points on the board, I wasn't the best at math, but it would have been, if you had 3 to 28, that's 31. They had 30. Bing, bang, boom. Let's go home.
We win. You win. No, this is exactly what happens with kickers when they start getting in their head too. Those are the kind of kicks they miss, and then they compile, and then you blink and they're gone.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? A bad team, we don't have time for him to mentally figure this out and have the yips.
Go make the kick.
Like some people who are running in Dallas who have the yips.
Yeah. And then, they said they were going to go out there and play together and have fun. And they put the ball on the ground. When I literally my wife was sitting next to me. She came downstairs for part of the game. And she's like, "Ooh, he fumbled." And then 38 seconds later, I was like, "Oh my God, he fumbled again." Like, what? He fumbled again. Like, what the fuck? I didn't even yell it. I was just like, he fumbled again. Like, it's just like when you look at this, the crayon in the mouth, and then you swig the stateside vodka. That's how it's done.
The glass was too far away. It's on the other side, and I like the aesthetic of it, like I said. So I'm just leaving the glass with the bottle. So I just figured I'd just go straight from the bottle.
You like my shelf over here?
I do. It's very nice. This podcast is becoming high class.
Very high class.
Is, beyond me. Didn't think that was going to happen. Look at us. Who would have thought?
We're here. We're in it. All right. One last question for you, and I want to propose this. I know I text a little bit back and forth. Do you think this offense, I only built the offense, not the defense, could win the NFC East or even compete for the NFC? Quarterback, Dak Prescott. Running back, Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Tight ends, Ertz, Jarwin, and Goddard. Wide receivers, Deshaun Jackson and Rager. You got your left tackle as Tyron Smith. Your right tackle, Lane Johnson. I'm going to put Zach Martin at center. Brandon Brooks at right tackle. Lyle Collins at left tackle. Lyle Collins at left guard, and Lane Johnson at right tackle. Does that team compete for the NFC?
That team wins the NFC. They could compete with anybody, right? I mean, who's the biggest test right now? It's the Seahawks and the Packers, I would say. The tight end play alone gives me hope that they could score on either of those teams.
I feel like
those 3 tight ends.
Having Deshaun and Rager on the outside, we don't even need another wide receiver with those 3 tight ends.
I know, yeah. The biggest thing to me looking at that roster is the offensive line. Like Miles Sanders being able to run behind that. That's the best thing he's ever run behind.
We have Zach Martin at center.
Zach Martin is at center. Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks. I mean, you know what they can do. Lyle Collins is a mauler. I mean, yeah, that'd be the best. That would likely be the best offensive line. You have 3 All-Pros on that offensive line. So yeah, that'd be the best offensive line in football. They win. They win the NFC.
That is your all injured Birds versus Boys team.
I think we both get a ring and bing bang boom.
Good. Vince, get us rings. Amazon.
Yes, please. In a dog cone, apparently.
Yeah. Well, we are going to be dropping this episode on Wednesday when you're listening, and another episode is coming tomorrow on Thursday, where we will be looking forward to the Eagles playing on Thursday Night Football and the Dallas Cowboys playing the Washington football team, and everything else that is going to happen in the NFL this upcoming Sunday, including our power rankings, which I don't think the Packers will be number one anymore.
I have a big thing planned for the power rankings, so that'll be exciting. Even more exciting, this will be the first time that an episode drops on a game day, I believe, because the Eagles are playing on Thursday. So I'm really excited for that. That should be an interesting matchup. I think both of these will, just because of the injury situations. So that'll be fun. And I like that we're going back to back. So we just ride the wave. And thank you to Stateside Vodka, first show with them as a sponsor. So it was, I'm sorry that you had to be the sponsor for the first show after a loss, but kind of gives you the full effect.
We hopefully have some good times coming. And send us your receipts. 100 receipts of sold Stateside Vodka will get the logo tattooed on his ass.
Didn't say that. Did not say that. We should probably cut it at just he will get a tattoo. Thank you and good night.
Ass tattoo.